Alright. Alright. Hey you guys. Sorry, gotta have the music as a little background because can't have my parents finding out. Alright, so Braxton here. Like I said, I was gonna make a video on how I kind of figured out how I was a trans and just stuff like that. I guess I kind of started when I was younger. Sorry, it's kind of hard to explain. Like, I'm number 4 of 8 kids. I have 2 older sisters, an older brother, 2 younger sisters, and 2 younger brothers. And I live in a really Mormon family. Like, my mom's side, my dad's side, and they're all Mormons, okay? So, this is, like, really different for me and my family. Like, it's not like I have, like, friends or family or just, like, stuff like that that I knew that was ever gay. And, like, when I was younger, I never understood that, like, the LGBT community. But anyways, sorry, it's a little bit later. Anyways, so kind of, like, how I realized it. Like, the way things started out when I was younger is, when I was younger, my parents described, like, they're just like, oh yeah, when you were little, you would run around in your jeans and everything, your jeans and diaper and without a shirt on and say, hey dad, mom, look, I'm like the big boys type thing. And even as I got older, when I was in elementary school, I preferred jeans and t-shirts, like, the only thing I'd love to wear. Jeans, t-shirts, swim trunks, you name it, like, anything that had to do with guy clothes, like, that's what I wore. Like, my mom and dad, well, not my dad, but, like, my mom tried to shop for me in the girls section. Oh my god. Horrid. Just horrid clothing. I hated it. Like, for them trying to get me into church clothes, I mean, don't even get me started. I was a nightmare. I hated skirts. I hated dresses. I mean, I hated it all. It was terrible. It was a nightmare. But it wasn't who I was. I was a tomboy. Like, I hated Barbies, I hated dress up, I hated makeup, I hated any of that. Like, I didn't even touch it. My parents learned that really fast. I was out with the big boys, or not the big boys, but I was out with the boys, riding my bike, scooter, rollerblading, just like playing out. When I lived in Michigan, there was a creek in our neighborhood, so we were out in the creek. I played soccer, and when I played soccer when I was little, I was the only girl on my team. I was on a team of boys, and I was the only girl. So sometimes I'd forget that I was actually a girl. But no, like, it's like I had maybe 2 girlfriends. Maybe 2. I know I had 1, but maybe 2. The rest of the time I hung out with boys. Just acted like a boy, dressed like a boy. I even had short hair when I was little. Like, I hated my long hair. So about the time when I was 6, I cut it off. So my hair was, like, about right here. I actually have a picture. Hold on. Got a picture. Okay, so that's me. Yeah. There you go. It's me. I was 7. Yeah, 7 when that was taken. So I was pretty young. As you can see, I look like, see, yeah, I still look like that. Not as pudgy, but then again, I do work out a lot. But yeah, no, that's kind of how it was when I was younger. But yeah, like, I was never huge on crushes. Like, I had a boyfriend, everyone has a boyfriend when they were in kindergarten or whatever. But, I mean, it's just how it was. So, like, that's how I grew up. And then, like, I moved to Vegas when I was about 8 years old. Man, it was miserable for me. Like, the first couple years, my mom, she just dressed me in the girliest clothes. Oh, I hated it. I just hated it. Like, I made sure that, like, I would dress, like, I'd hardly wear the clothes that my mom got me. And I would just wear jeans and t-shirts. Like, I'd maybe occasionally wear what my mom got me to appease her. Those were my worst days. But when I was about, I think about 13. Yeah, no, not 13. See, 11. I had to start growing my hair out for the Nauvoo pageant for my family. But yeah, no, about 11, I had to start growing my hair back. Well, I come back from doing the Nauvoo pageant with my family, chop it off. Like, I just full on chop it off, like, really short on the sides, spiky on top. I just completely cut it off. Well, we did it the next year, so I was 12 at the time, and I had to grow it out again. Well, I decided, why not grow it out? I'd never really had it long since I was really little. I always had it short. And at the time, I thought that, like, with everyone around me and all the kids that were my age, they had to be, like, you had to be noticed by a guy to be, like, worth anything or whatever. That's just how it was where I lived. And where I still live now. And so I grew out my hair. So, I grew it out until I was 14, 15. No. 15. No, I was even 16. I was 16 until I grew it out. So I had it, like, a good while. I had my hair, like, it got all the way down to past my boob. I mean, it was, like, all the way down to here. Yeah, like, all the way down to there. Okay. Yeah, so, I mean, it was just, like, that's how it was. And so, sorry, my camera's kind of adjusting right now, because I'm using a video camera, not my computer. Anyways, beside the point. But yeah, like, that's just how it was. And so when I was about 14, I started trying to wear makeup and started shopping in the girls section to look more like a girl, trying to attract the wrong person's attention, I guess, because I didn't feel like I was really worth anything because I acted like a guy and I dressed like a guy, and, like, I grew up in a Mormon family, and so, like, all it was about was when you get older, you date, and then you find a guy and you marry him, and then you have a family, And so it was kind of just like, that's what I thought it was, and I was never getting noticed by any guys. No matter how hard, like, it's sad, but no matter how hard I tried, like, I was not a noticeable person. I was always invisible. I mean, when I was in high school, or I'm still in high school, but when I was in, like, 8th grade, 9th grade, and about sophomore year, like, when I walked through the halls, hell, I got ran down, like, all the time. Run down. And so it's kind of just like, why try when no one's gonna notice me? And so things kind of went down. And like I said, I got noticed by the wrong people. And so, like, things happened and just, yeah, kind of just fucked me up, Anyways, so, like, I was in the wrong, like, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't feel anything for guys. Like, I had no emotional connection. Like, maybe I had emotional connection, but, like, it was kind of like, hey, you're a cool dude type thing, And I tried, but it just wasn't me. And I didn't understand it, because the whole entire time I grew up, I didn't have any, like, my parents, they didn't have any gay friends or people like that. They didn't have, like, I didn't have anyone in my family that was from the LGBT community. And so it's kind of just like, how am I supposed to learn? Well, I moved moved to Utah when I was 14. Like, my 14th, when I was 14, freshman, and mainly halfway through my 8th grade year, freshman year, like, I didn't have understanding, like, any understanding, really. Except for, my best friend ended up coming out to me. And I was one of the first people, so it felt pretty good. You know, I was starting to learn and starting to understand. But it was like sophomore year, that's kind of when it really started to hit. And so, you know, sophomore year, one of my friends, she ended up becoming my best friend, kind of like told me what it was like and just like stuff like that. And because like I dated, quote unquote dated, guys, I identified myself as bi, but then I realized like I wasn't bi at all. I hated guys. Oof. Ironic, right? I did not like guys, you know? I just, nothing. Just nothing. And so, it's just how it was. And so I realized that I like girls. Well, I ended up meeting my first girlfriend. Man, did I fall for her hard. Like, I mean, hella hard I fell. We ended up dating for a year and a couple months. But yeah, like, I was full-on lesbian, dyke, or, sorry, for those that prefer the term butch. It's just, you know, it's kind of how it was. She's actually the one that got me this hat. It's my favorite hat. I'll explain why in another video, but, yeah, we dated, but, like, kind of about 9 months into the relationship, probably more closer to 9-10 months, I kind of started, you know, once I got really comfortable into my skin, I just started thinking. I was just like, you know, I had, like, even just, like, after, 2 months, really, even just 1 month into the relationship, I just put my foot down with my mom, and I'm just like, you know what, I don't like having long hair, I don't like dressing like a girl, I don't like acting like a girl, I hate it, I hate makeup, you know, just stuff like that. So I'm just like, you know what, I have a job, I'm gonna pay for my clothing, and I'm gonna shop where I want to. I'm gonna shop in the guys section, and it's been almost 2 years. 2 years since I've shopped in the girls section. Like, the only time I actually ever go in there is when I need a bra. And I hate it. But, like, that's just how it was. Because, like, with me, I have really broad shoulders. I mean, I have a big ass. Don't get me wrong, the ladies love the ass. But, like, I have a big ass. I have big boobs. I wear, like, right now, I wear 38D. It sucks. You know? So it's kind of just like, I hated it. I mean, let's just put it plain and simple. I hated it. And so, I stopped. I put my foot down and I told my mom how I felt. Well, we started dating, and then I ended up coming out to my parents that as a lesbian. My mom, I told, just a quick story. I was in the hospital after getting really bad heat stroke from being outside and working out. Outside, I was at drill. I used to be in the Sea Cadet Corps, which is training for the Navy. Well, so another story. So I was outside. We'd been outside all day. Like, I hadn't drinking enough. I ended up kind of like passing in and out, you know, going into pretty bad shock and just having a really bad heat stroke. They ended up just putting an IV in, fluids. But while I was at the hospital, I was texting Ashley. We hadn't officially started going out yet, and my mom was just like, you know, you guys seem a little bit more, or like, she's like, you seem to be talking to her a lot and everything. And I'm like, I pretty much turned over to my mom, just like, Mom, I'm gay. You know, I'm really falling for this girl. You know, we're pretty much dating. Yeah, my mom didn't really talk to me 3 days after that. she was none too happy, and ever since then she's kind of just like done this whole, oh, there's been people in the church that, you know, are gay and have the feelings, like have the gay feelings and everything, but they choose to live a straight lifestyle and blah 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 blah. And I was just like, Mom, just stop, just stop, you know. So she still hasn't stopped. But like with my dad, well, I wouldn't say like I told her. With my mom, I told her that me and Ashley were practically dating. You know, I just said we're really good friends, but I'm gay type thing. Anyway, sorry, I jump all over the place. With my dad, I told my dad that I was just coming back, and I was telling Ashley goodbye, and my dad was putting the trash away. And I guess he kind of saw her, like, we were somewhat silhouetted by the street light, but I mean, it was still shadowed, but it seemed like a little bit more than just a hug, because we were actually kissing, but like a little bit more than a hug. And so I was walking up, and my dad was sitting in the dark. I mean, it was creepy as shit. Like, my dad was sitting on the porch, and the light was off, and I was just like, he was like, Belinda. And I was just like, I felt like I was the godfather. It was creepy. He was sitting back, his legs were crossed, and he's just like, Belinda, you know, what's your type of relationship with Ashley? And I was just like, God damn it, I'm found out. So I was just like, I tell him how I feel, and he's just like, well, I'm gonna treat you the same way as I do your sisters, you know, no girls now in your bedroom, and like, what else did he say? He's just like, you'll still have a curfew, you know, and just like, list all this stuff, like our beliefs on dating or whatever. Okay, so like, sorry. So he does like that whole thing, whole spiel. Well, I end up dating Ashley for a year and a couple months, and she breaks things off, and like, it was a month ago. Yeah, about a month ago that she broke things off, you know, so I'm still kind of fresh lesbian or whatever. Well, like I was saying, like about 10 months into the relationship, after being, you know, pretty comfortable in my own skin, I'm dressing like a guy, acting like one, that type of thing, you know, I kind of start realizing that when, you know, when I'm still mistaken as a girl, you know, because of my boobs. I guess in some of the way I walk, I don't know, but because like my boobs and everything, I'm still mistaken as a girl, and like I started noticing that I hated it. You know, I liked it, like I loved it when I was mistaken for a guy. You know, when I got called by he or she pronouns, not she, but he pronouns, and like sir or things like that. Oh, I loved it. But I was just like, wait, I'm not supposed to be feeling that because I'm lesbian. And then I'm like, oh wait, you know. So I started feeling that. I was just like, oh my gosh, maybe I'm trans. But like, I couldn't say that because with being in a relationship with Ashley, it was kind of just like, you know, it was a lesbian relationship, and she doesn't date guys, you know, and we somewhat had talked about it before, and she's just like, I don't date guys, you know, I'd still love you, I just couldn't love you in that way anymore. And so it was just like, okay, and I didn't want to lose her, so I didn't say anything. Well, when she breaks it off, I was just like, you know, I can start acting on those feelings. So I started really like thinking about, like thinking to myself and thinking about it and just saying, you know, maybe I am, you know. And like, even when we were in the relationship, I kind of started thinking about like what type of names I wanted and type of thing. And me and Ashley talked about names that we wanted to name our kids. We ended up having them, and I said like I wanted to name my son Braxton. But like, when I was really thinking about it, I was just like, no, I actually kind of like the name for myself, you know. You know, I really like the name for myself. And so that's kind of how I came up with the name Braxton Jason. And Davis is, of course, my last name. And I like the letter B, and so I just kept the B from going Belinda to Braxton. But yeah. And so, like, when I think about myself as Braxton. Well, no one knew at that point. And about, like, a week or two before, I finally, like, I have my best friend, Casey. Speaking of which, special shout out to my best friend, Casey. I love you so much. Or, she's not only my best friend, she's my quote-unquote wife. Just best, friend joke. So, love you, Casey. Love you so much. She's actually the first one I came out to. But yeah, it feels so good. I mean, the few people that know now that I'm trans, I mean, it feels freaking amazing that, when I'm called by he or she pronouns and I'm called by Braxton, and I've been seeing a therapist for 3 years now because of a whole slew of things that I've gone through, and I told him just this past appointment, and I'm just like, here it is, you know, my parents don't know, my parents do suspect, but I haven't officially come out to them yet, and, you know, and he's just like, well, what do you want me to refer to you as Braxton when I'm with you? And I'm like, yeah, you know, when I'm with you, but, like, when my parents are around, you know, still call me by Belinda type thing. And he's like, okay, you know, and I'm still kind of like, I'm still friends with Ashley, my ex-girlfriend and everything, but I'm still kind of afraid to tell her, and I'm still really afraid to tell a couple of my friends because I don't know what to think. You know, I've laughed so many people throughout just, like, my whole entire life just because they don't like the way I am. And, like, and it's, you know, I shouldn't, like, I should be hurt, but I shouldn't be as hurt about them leaving because I shouldn't feel bad for someone leaving me because they don't like who I am, but I still do. And so I don't want to lose more people, but I mean, I'm realizing that if they don't love me for who I am, then they don't deserve being in my life. So I'm still kind of like at that stage, should I tell someone or should I not? But yeah, like, that's kind of like just, sorry for such a long video, but that's kind of how it was for me, just figuring out that I'm trans, you know, and because I'm only 17, and I turned 17 in December, so a little less than 2 months, no, actually, no, 2 months, so, about 60 days or so, I turned 18, so that's kind of gonna be the marker. Like, I've made 18 the marker for, just coming out, and, like, and I'd already made the marker for coming out to my family as lesbian, but, I guess now it's gonna be the marker for me coming out to trans to the people I care about. I am gonna probably wait for a little while for my parents, just because, like, I probably won't have them find out until after I start T, unless they find out before then, because they're obviously gonna find out when I kind of start growing facial hair and my voice gets deeper and stuff like that. But yeah, like, my friends and people that I know kind of know that are gonna accept me, but I still am terrified to tell them. But yeah, 18 will be the marker, and I'm hoping that by the time I graduate that I'll be able to start, you know, my process of starting T, because I was thinking about going into the Navy, but anyways, sorry, another story, but yeah, I'm hoping that 18 will be my marker, and, you know, that's how I came to find out for myself that I was trans, and, you know, now I'm proud of it. Proud of the fact that I was able to notice and tell myself that, and just, I'm proud of myself, and yeah, I love myself for who I am, who isn't Belinda, but in reality it's Braxton. So, yeah. Once again, thanks for listening, you guys. Sorry for such a long video, but, yeah. Peace.